All right. As soon as we get a participant, we're going to start this thing. I am going to. Hey, what's up? Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're gonna take. Oh, someone messaged. What's this? Oh, yeah. I still have. I sent an email to that old email address, so we'll see. Yeah, dude. Um, Next week. Not too sure what the schedule is, but yeah, should be all right. Okay. So, all right. Sorry about that. Now, these hooks are barbless, and a lot of people are probably wondering why barbless hooks are a good idea. But see, in slow jigging, what a lot of people don't realize is that the biggest thing is penetration. And penetration with barbless hooks is actually really, really good. So, also, you might notice here that they're pretty thick. So, the barb actually hampers the penetration. And with this, okay, to get away from the issue of the barb, what manufacturers generally do is to make the hook thinner. That way, penetration power goes higher up. But since taking off the barb here, what happens is that penetration on this is quite one of its strongest suits, penetration, and you can get away with the thicker hook, obviously. So this is what happened here. Now we are rigging this 400-gram um, Z Slow from Sea Falcon, and this actually came from Sea Falcon. Sent it to me because I told them, like, listen, I need some of your stuff. So thank you very much, Martin. Now this is already rigged. I actually have, like, what do you call this, hooks for it here and stuff. Um, but see, the thing is, I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people around the world that would probably be able to get this type of hook. And I encourage a lot of people to actually try it because it's really good. Not only is it strong, but as far as hooking and holding the fish are concerned, it's surprisingly really good. Surprisingly really good. Okay, so we're gonna do two sets, right? One up front, one at the back, and then we'll go through the whole motions, and I am going to be explaining everything. So we are also going to be using Fish Fighters Marine Blue. It's called Stealth Blue, whatever. Blue braid, just so we have consistency and shit. And I'm gonna be tying this easy mode. Okay, so this is something that you guys could literally do in your sleep as well. Very, very easy. Very, very easy. Okay, Shimano style. If it's good enough for Shimano, it's good enough for you. Now, the advantage of this is that, and by the way, um, this has a PE core. All right. So what we're gonna do is actually take the core off and replace it with fluorocarbon. Okay. So what we have here, we just double up and give yourself a lot of space, because you know what, you're actually gonna waste a few with this one. As with always, use a knife instead of scissors, because in the long run, what happens is that you'll save a lot more money, because it's cheaper to actually buy the blade than to replace like good scissors and shit. All right, so just a heads up. Now we take the core off, and it's easy as just taking this off like that. Alrighty, there. I'm gonna take my bin, for our friends in the States, trash can. It's actually what I call it. I only started calling it bin when I moved to the UAE because they use British English here in the UAE. All right, so one tip, you see that end right there? That's no good. It's gonna give you a hard time. All right, so what you do is just cut it with a or pair of scissors, no problem. And what happens now is that it won't snag. Okay, so it's very easy for you to insert the fluorocarbon core. This is 13 pound, so roughly about 15-pound test. Okay, so as you can see there, very easy. And then all you have to do is just wait for it to hit the end right there. Let it poke out, and then make a square knot. Just like that. Alrighty. Now, it's probably good to have it as close to the end as possible. Okay, once you have that, then you can cut the other end, and again, make it longer than what you need, because there's a trick here. All right, let me take my flat nose pliers. Very useful piece of kit. There, wrap around your hand like that, and then pull. And what you want is to make that knot as small as possible. Okay, now what you do is take this, okay, and then pull, bang, just like that. See, you're making it longer, but you're actually also compressing it. Okay, and tie it. Now, I'm gonna need a short length of this, no problem. That's just, that's pretty much what I'm gonna need. But you can again be generous with yourself and actually adjust that. All good. Okay, I'm gonna just do that. See, now you have a piece that's relatively thin, and again, something you want, because for this sort of thing you want stealth, right? So I'm gonna cut just a tad bit. uh, I'm gonna give it a little bit of I'm gonna leave just a tad bit there. Okay, hold on. All right, and then also the same here. That's dangerous, but all right, so might be too long. I need to cut this. Hold on. They even have a pair of scissors here. I know what I'm gonna do. It's this could cut it if I put tension. Okay, so I'm gonna just cut it. So I have like a little bit, and then I'm gonna burn it off. Okay, if I can find the freaking lighter. I used to smoke, and I used to have a lot of lighters around, but now I can't even like find one. Oh my god. Holy crap. Where is the lighter? It was just here, dude. All right, let me get a lighter. Huh, what the hell? Oi. Oh man. What the heck's It's the lighter, dude. Gosh, it was a red one because I was thinking to myself that it would be easier to find. And then now I'm forgetting. John, I just wanted you to know I have spent a lot of money after being subscribed to you for less than a year. The rate of spending is increasing with your life. John, dude, you don't have to. It's you don't have to. That's the thing. I'm just showing stuff. And there's always a way around things, John, by the way. There's always a way around things. Hold on, let me just it's bothering me that I can't find a freaking lighter. All right, we're back in business. Okay, so got two lighters now. Put it here just to be sure. I know, but I have an addiction problem. You are feeding. uh, yeah. Well, can't help you there, buddy. I'm just showing stuff. Okay, so burn the ends, because when you're burning the ends, what happens? It seals the knot. These are not final. Okay, these are not final. So there, and be very careful when you're doing this, by the way. Okay, now, um, this is one of the keys to making it super clean. Okay, so this is gonna be not easy because this is where you get injured. Okay, so I usually mount my hooks upside down like that because it's supposed to be like right like that. So upside down, and then most important thing here is that you have a thread base. Okay, so you go and we want to make it clean. We're actually gonna really now. I'm gonna give you a few notes while we're doing this. Okay, so we're gonna and stop and go. And usually, what I do here, okay, look, that's not even. Okay, as you can see there, I'm just gonna take like a thing, pliers here, and then see, and then that becomes kind of even. Now, what you want is to stop just at the tip of that. That's what she said. Okay, just at the tip, then cut. Right, and then take about 2 reps more. What happens here is that you are actually going to pull this, and when it gets pulled, it will um, compress more. Okay, so this is like how Shimano does it. Like most of their assist hooks, you'll find that they actually tie it like this, and there's a knot at the end to jam things. Okay, so at this point, what we're doing is just, as you can see there, we're literally just binding it. Now, when you pull this, there's going to be a bit of movement. See, okay, you don't want that type of movement. What you want is for it to jam just over at the tip there. Okay, so be very careful. I'm just showing you guys exactly what needs to be done here there. So have your knot position just at the very end. Okay, there. And then here's the trick. You increase the tension of your wraps. Okay, now as you can see, the difference of the wraps that I'm doing now is that after each turn, the color changes. There we go. And it becomes kind of transparent and it blends in, right? So now all you have to do is actually tie securely, and then we are going to tie, or we're going to go strand over strand. I think in fly tying they're calling it touching turns. Okay. Okay, now I'm actually just going to inspect. Okay, that's good. Okay. Hey Rob, what's up? Yeah, man, all good. Feeling good. Just doing this for you guys so that you can actually see, like, for slow jigging and stuff, right? Again, I do whip finishes. All right. Now you can hardly see it, but it's there. And then I do 5 times each, and it's going to get considerably difficult for the second hook. And for that, I always use tape. Right. So now we cut this, and you will find that it's super clean. Okay. At this point, you can glue it if you want, but kind of pointless at this point in time because we're still gonna actually put the other one, right? And guys, you would not believe how good this hook is when you hook up. A lot of people are actually hesitating because they say that it is barbless and it drops fish. The reality of the barb is, if you look at the history, they actually put the barb there not to hold the fish, but to hold the bait. Holding the fish is a matter of being always tight on the line. Okay, so here's what I do. I just tape this up because I've had so many accidents of myself being impaled that it started to seem like a hobby. And I'm not masochistic that way. Okay, now, so we have that. Then, take another hook. And then we do our base wrap. Now, let me ask you guys, okay, how many people have actually taken this up, like tying your own assist hooks? have you ever well, did you actually start out tying, or did you guys just buy production hooks and stuff? And what's the story? That's right, Brett. That's the way. Or according to the Mandalorians, this is the way. Right? So just gonna take this and bunch them up like that. A trick that I use is to actually use this thread to lift up, and then each wrap that you make is going to be just in front of the other. Well, here, let me show you guys, because it's a fly tying trick. There, definitely have. I bought them before. I watched your videos. Yeah. All right. So see, come tight. This is a trick I learned in fly tying. So there, and then what I do is I wrap like that. You see, every wrap you do will be in front. But if you're using braid, tying assist hooks and stuff, this is like a huge spend because braid ain't cheap. So, but look at that. See, it will always fall in front. Again, two wraps from the tip right there, cut it, and then bang. So in fly tying, what happens is when you're doing this, right after you have the end or the thread stop um, where you want it, y- you actually just snap it going like this. Um, One day I'm gonna tie a fly or two for you guys to see. All right, now here again. All right, so just loose wraps to position. I think tying flies is boring for a lot of people. It takes time. The steps are so uh, anal, I would say. Now, I will tape this like that, just so it's out of the way. It's easier that way. The thing with customization or tying your own is literally making it the way you want it. Um, and the quality of the materials that you use obviously will be very different. I mean, you can make it cheaper. That kind of defeats the purpose, but you can use higher quality stuff. You know. Uh, wow, a long weekend for Brett. That's cool, man. Alrighty. All right. Now, this is actually where I used to stab myself a lot. You know, jeez, there was a time when I actually fainted because, like, with the big hooks, I'm fine, but with the smaller hooks, because I have a phobia for needles, that's what done me in. You know, so I fainted a few times. All right, so now we bind. Okay, and as you can see here again, how I'm binding, right? And this is like thicker braid too. This is like point 0.8, thicker than I usually use. But you can tell that the number of winds I'm making to secure it is actually less than a lot of people would actually make them. The secret is literally just being able to control your thread and tension, of course. Right, so right there, and then just move it forward, and then you saw that, you guys saw that. I hope you guys did, because what happened was that those wraps were actually it actually um, it came undone, and you could see that the color is different, right? So now we finish. Okay, so one, two. Okay, and look at that. Okay, color is different, and then when I tighten, it will actually change color. You see that? See, it changed color. So let's do it again. Yes. There we go. There. Then I'm not gonna glue these, to tell you honestly. There you go. All right. Now, crucial. Okay, very crucial, because this actually sets the hooks in place, and this is a step that not a lot of people do, which is a shame, because this is what makes or breaks the hooks. All right. See, this is the part where you know if you've done it right or not, because you're literally putting load on the hooks. Everybody following so far? Am I going too fast, going too slow? What? Pace is just okay? Okay, now I'm gonna put this here. Okay, like so. Yeah, take my hook tool here, and then guess what? You're gonna pull. Oh, cool. So, that's as much as I can pull, and the suckers even. It got stuck there. All right. Now it does two things. It sets everything in place. Okay. And at the same time, what happens is that you find your true center. Okay. So does that now? Um, the the thing here with these, as you could probably tell, is that these are really thin, right? And you want them to be kind of on the thin side. This is 150 already, so that's more than enough. If you're not comfortable, you could do 200 or 250, but I find that having thinner thinner but stiffer um, assist cords for slow jigging is the way to go. They just miss less. There we go. Because they're flailing around, right? When you're working them, they're flailing around, and when the fish hits, they automatically just kind of find the mouth. And as for the back hooks or the front hooks, whatever, wherever hooks first, right? They flail around and look for the flesh to actually anchor. And if it's too thick and too stiff, they're not going to find the target. All right. So, only because I have them, I'm going to use GP rings. Okay. You can use circle ones, but I have a crap load of them. I think that's the technical word. They're no different, to tell you honestly. All right. So, same thing, loop them in like so. Okay. And then turn like so. Right. And what I do is I will take my hook here, and then I'll finesse just like that. Okay. And then take my pull tool. Right. And then bang. Tight. Yo! Wow. That's when you know you've done it tight. enough, right? So you have that. Now, if you have unruly hooks, just twist them till they're in position like that. Should be all right. Okay. So just like that, boys. Now we measure. I didn't measure at this. Okay. So I'm going to put this at the back here. Okay. A bit too long, actually. So could be for a longer jig. But uh, yeah, I should have measured. Now, here's the thing. If you think that it's too long, guess what? For this type, okay, for this type, you can actually cut and do it again. And you know, I want to show you guys. All right, so just do this, like here, okay, and then you pull it tight here. So we're going through the motions, yeah. Just in case we're human, so yeah, kill me. We screw up, right? So there, right? You have that pull, and you do the same thing on the other side. This happens, right? I mean, like carelessness and all this. That actually what happened was that when I did the lighter, I totally kind of did a misstep there. Forgot to measure. Okay. Now, actually, you know what? I'm gonna show you guys something. A trick, right? So you have that, okay, and that's relatively even. So cut this, right? Cut this, and then burn, burn, and guess what? You're back in business. You could just tie the hooks, right? There you go. See, and guess what? Once we do this, you'll find that it's actually perfect. Yeah. So let's do that. I'm gonna haul ass here so you guys can see. Okay. So this is kind of like my normal speed. Whoa. Okay. I screwed up, boys. See, it's a problem with the knife, yeah? Very easy to screw up. There was just a touch, tuk, and then it cut. Oopsie. But the good thing is, you know, you can actually just do it again, right? Uh, yeah, Brett. After like thousands, really. I started doing this thing since like what 2006 or earlier, actually. But by 2006, I was doing my own here, in the UAE because I couldn't buy them. You know, so I had to make my own. Okay, there we go. So this is the time where I get myself stabbed a lot because of the this one right here. So I'm kind of careful now, right? Slower on this end. Oops. Here we go. Flip that over. When I'm doing this, like if I'm doing like a lot of them, um, you have to do everything in advance. You know, there are some steps where you could actually save time in when you're doing production. Kind of a habit that I got from flight tying. Just make things easy, you know. Alrighty, so there we go. That's more like it. Now, uh, see, a lot of people actually have a hard time when it comes to like this here. Okay, so if they become unruly, what you do is actually just take your lighter, heat it up a bit. Okay, and then you can straighten things out like that. Okay, uh, remember that it's fluorocarbon in there, and a little bit of heat will actually kind of reset them. So tighten this. There. Now, now check this out, boys. Right, put this here, and you'll see how nicely they actually fall. All right, boom, just like that. See? So that's the perfect length right there. All right. Now you might have noticed that I don't use flash for the smaller stuff. There's flash. I mean, I don't know if I've shown you guys. Hold on. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but let me show you guys this. Okay. Uh, okay. Let me share screen. New tab. All right. Can you guys see the new tab? Okay. Can you guys see? Can you guys see this? You guys see that, right? So this one right here, the flash assist 2. So you have this, right? All right. Brett, just wait a second. All right. So I'm gonna show you guys something. If I can find the damn things. Uh, I saw them like the other day. They're around here. Aha! There you are. All right. So I'm gonna show you guys this because, like, no BS. All right. So here we go. These are the prototypes that they actually asked me to approve. Okay. See, they actually waited for me in Japan because I designed them. I made like videos and pictures, right? And I told them like, listen, this is what I want, yada da da da. And they were like, oh, that's a cool idea. Let's do it. So, ah, the secret of this is that when you actually hit them with a UV light, you'll see that they actually glow. See? So this color is based on what's called electric chicken. So, you have the pink and the white literally glows blue, and the green, obviously. So for the smaller stuff, okay, for the smaller stuff, I put flash on because guess what? It attracts a lot of smaller fish. If you're fishing for the big stuff, you want it to be naked because the jig itself is what attracts the big stuff. And you don't want smaller stuff to distract the big fish from biting your jig. Plus, remember that when you know, you're fishing in shallower water targeting smaller fish, more than likely um you kind of are not targeting when you're fishing in shallower areas, you're not targeting like the big fish, so you want the smaller fish to get attracted and get a lot of visibility for the smaller stuff. But when it comes to fishing the big fish, you want to eliminate small stuff from biting. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste of your time. Now, if you want to catch just anything, go right ahead, man. Put the flash on. You know, that's cool if that's what you want. But smaller fish will bother. Okay. Now, there's an argument that, they're fishing in places where there's less fish and they want all the attraction that they can get. Uh, hey, Abdul, what's up? So yeah, okay, you could do that. Totally up to you. It's a judgment call that you're gonna have to make. However, you're already fishing, and you're already spending a lot of time trying to, just catch something like big and something nice. Otherwise, you'd be doing something else. So, for me, I'd uh, I'd choose whatever quality or quantity. That's up to you. You know. My friend Kozo Okubo, okay, he calls himself the big fish hunter. And I was like, you know what, Koz? The reason why we're friends is because you love calling yourself the big fish hunter. Like for me, I'm the small fish hunter. What's up, King? So it's kind of funny. All right, now the back hook. Okay, the back hook for me, I don't put uh, an insert. Okay, because the front hook has the capacity to actually snag the leader, so you want that stiff. Whereas the back hook, you kind of don't snag the leader with it. Okay. Now, if you're slow jigging and you're snagging the leader, guess what it means? It means your rod is too stiff or your jig is too light for the rod. Okay. So two things: it's the rod or the jig. Okay. So that's that basically. Now for this, again, we'll just go back and tie an over a square knot actually here. Okay, and what we want is that knot to be as small as possible, right? You saw that? That popped the knot. Actually, you know what? Let's take out the core. Okay, take out the core, and what happens is that you flatten the uh, the cord. That way, when you tie the knot, it's actually quite small and almost stealthy. I wish Nice Day was here so that he could actually see how I'm doing this, because it's a way for you to actually make that knot really small. Just take off the core, right? And he said that he doesn't like the Shimano style because that knot is ugly, but you can hardly see my knot there. Okay, not a good thing to do. Okay, that's sketchy. Now here's basically what I'm doing, right? I'm biting on the thing, so we could actually just do it like this, right? That way you guys could see as well. So you cut from there, okay? And then the reason why you're cutting that is because you're gonna burn it. Okay, hold on. AC, okay? That's why I have to do this. So the AC is actually disrupting the fire. Okay, so there, I'm gonna do that so that you guys can see exactly how far I'm cutting from the knot. Okay, just right there. Okay, so what you want is literally to form a very small ball there, and then it stops the knot from unraveling. That is it. Righty. Okay, and here. Now let's measure, because we don't want to screw this one up. A bit too long, so we're going to adjust it. Just make another knot around there. Okay, like so. Sketchy. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now that should be okay. Now remember that we're doing this with a knot here as well. So just just keep that in mind. You can't do too much. All right. Now, okay. That's gonna shift a little bit. So there we go. Okay. Make sure it's centered. There we go. Whoa! What the hey? That sucks. Well, kind of good that it happens, because uh, got it to work. Have you ever tried splicing both the hook and the solid ring on? Yes. Um, but you have to be very careful because you could screw up really fast right there. Uh, Rob, if you actually go to my Instagram, there's a there's one there that where I actually spliced it both, and you can't even find the seam. But the problem there, obviously, is that yeah, it's not. I've tried it. I've caught fish with it, and the way I did it was actually not simple. You know, I had to splice the splice. If you get what I mean. All right. So as you could see there, I actually uh, took a few turns off. Okay, and then I'm gonna catch that with the thread. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back, just like that. So essentially, both strands are trapped. After a couple of turns, I can just cut it and then continue on. All right. So here we go. And that's it. Believe it or not, that's secure. If you don't feel like it is, you can actually just go back from scratch. But in my experience, it hasn't really unraveled. The chances of this unraveling, especially after gluing it and all that, the chances of it unraveling and messing up um, is lower than having a toothy fish cut this. You know, so I like this one, super loose or floppy, because guess what? What happens? Okay, now you see this tag end right there. There's a tag, right? You can actually just burn that out, just like that. Kind of flattens it, cleans it up a little bit. That's it. Okay, so the reason why I like this without an insert at the back is because there are some fish that actually kind of suck the lure in, or the jig, and fish like grouper and stuff like that. Rob, thank you very much. Uh, with this, it just goes in, so the hookup ratio is quite high if it doesn't have an insert. Now, here's the funny thing also. Um, if you hook with the front hook, the head hooks, right? This will find flesh so fast because it's gonna flail around. Yeah. So very, very important. One of those things. Okay. So again, just a wrap here. Okay, and going in like that. Even if you're going fast, what happens is that it just goes in front there. See, tricks of the trade. When you're tying flies, that's kind of like, when you're doing it fast and stuff. Who goes fly fishing here, actually? Kevin. What's up, Kevin? Kevin Xiong. Must be a good friend of Rob to actually have like a gift membership. Fly fishing is freaking awesome, man. You know, uh, someone asked me, like, what's my favorite type of fishing, and it's fly fishing. And guess what? It's not only me, yeah. Um, one of my mentors also. You ask him, it's fly fishing, and happens to be Peter Pakula. It says like when he's like marlin fishing, it's kind of work, you know, and then when he fly fishes, then it's like fishing for him. He once had this fly called an insomnia. It's the only fly he used to fish, and that was actually quite a nice fly. There you go. All right, let me actually tape this up one more time like that, because uh, it's such a waste of like masking tape. But I'd rather waste masking tape than my hands. Like, it's not cool when you're, you know, impaling yourself regularly. It's just not cool. Makes you hate it, dude. All right, so there we go. Let's do this. Fly fishing, you gotta like it, or at least be curious before you actually kind of commit. It takes commitment. It's like a fucking marriage. Okay, one, two, three, there we go. Another one. So as you can see, it doesn't really take a lot of time if you have everything prepared beforehand. Oh, I screwed up. All right, so there, two, three, four. Oh, what the hell is wrong with me now? There. Okay, so 4, 5. Okay, that's that. And I forgot to say this, and I know I said it a few times, but when you're cutting, move the thread, not the knife. Okay. Okay. It's kind of different, I guess, when you're seeing it all happen while I'm doing it, and while it's randomly gifted. It's normal for followers to give members to help grow the community. Oh, I didn't know that, Bob. I thought these are your friends, dude. I don't know how things work. I mean, I'm supposed to be kind of techie and stuff, but I'm new to this whole streaming thing, so I don't know. Um, you know, Abdul, yes, by practice it should, but for me, I haven't really seen that much of a difference, to tell you honestly. Like, especially when you're putting it on like super tight, you know. Like, for me, I haven't really seen that much. And like for now, these, I'm probably even gonna fish without gluing them, you know. And it's not because of laziness. It's just that I know that they're super well made. Okay, so again, always pull. And I'm gonna fish these in places where there are no toothy fish. So more than likely, I'm gonna be using these for like tuna and stuff, or AJs. Okay, so ring, insert there. Still the same thing. Okay, wrap, twist, go in again. And then the trick here is to actually pull it slowly, and then always have both of these equal, like that. Okay, now make sure that the knot is properly formed, like that X. Okay, if there's no X there, okay, like this one here, it's a very good example. Holy crap, let's not make waste this chance. Okay, so if you see here, okay, it's not properly formed. There's the X has not see, you guys can see that, right? And that right there needs to be lifted and turned so that it forms an X. That's how this knot becomes stronger. So there. Yeah. Now it's crossed. So when we tighten this, okay, wait, you know what? Let's loosen this up like 100% so you guys can actually really see it. Okay, there. So see, it's gonna some are gonna go like this. So you loosen it up, right? And you'll find that there's an X at the back like that. That's when you know that it will actually tighten correctly. So just by loosening it and actually putting it back, you know, you'll get that. Okay, and that X will actually move up front, and then at the back you'll find that there's going to be just that, and then X in front. Okay, dokie. And then have them positioned correctly, facing the right way, like so, and then tighten. Okay, and then you have that. Okay, and then when we put it here, it should be, oh, what the hell? Why is it too? Oh, okay, just right, about just right. If you find it too long, you know, you can always, again, like I showed you earlier, you can just retie. It's fine. You know, you make mistakes. We're human. Uh, but here's something that you should actually understand as well. Okay, now you'll find that there are some that actually tie stuff here. Okay, now a lot of people don't even know what that's for. Okay, but what it is, look, if you actually do it like that, okay, and there's a, let's say, a knot that stops this right here. What happens is that as soon as this one is hooked, see, it follows. So for these, if you don't put a binding here, what happens is that these will act more independent. Whereas if you're putting a binding there, they would actually work together more, because as soon as this one gets pulled, this one also gets pulled. Uh, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here, so this one has a binding. Okay, look, if I pull this, that moves. Okay, so when this actually gets in the flesh, this one is in the position to actually also snag. Whereas with this one, okay, when it snags, this one's still there. It's not gonna follow it. This one does. See? You saw that? See? So something good to know. When you're tying these, that's probably something that you would kind of consider. Do you want something like that or not? Now, the fish is naturally going to move around. It's going to flail around, and eventually those hooks will actually find their mark. The difference is, okay, that for these that don't have the bindings, it could be that it's far from, it's farther from the other, like this, and the other ones like that. Whereas with these ones, they're going to be closer together. Okay, so you'll have this at the back, like that, closer, you know, like that, if it's in the mouth, you know, rather than actually having one here and then one like super far. This will do it. Now, that totally also depends on what you want to accomplish. So, depending on the fish that you're targeting, or what do you call this? The kind of terrain that you're fishing, be cognizant on what you're doing. Now, for me, I actually do these bindings. Okay, as a matter of preference. Okay, but that's what it does. Now, I have to also say I do this with lighter hooks. With heavier hooks, I don't. Okay, so with lighter hooks, you want them to be closer because you want them to work as a team. And if you did that, what happens is that you'll have less bend offs. Now, if you notice, these guys are actually quite thick. And even if they work independently, they're gonna pull a lot more weight than the thinner ones. So I have thin ones for this one here. Okay, and that's the idea behind it. Yeah. So if you have thinner hooks and you use these, they will stick closer to each other, and they will help each other so that they won't bend out individually. If you have thicker hooks, they can work independently because thicker hooks will naturally have more strength, right? So especially for these ones right here, they're thick, they penetrate really easy. Assist for mackerel. You mean like with wire and stuff? With wire, yeah, man. I have. I think it's in the rigging library. It's in the jig rigging library, dude. I think. Um, but see, here's the thing, right? For mackerel, um, you do the same thing, right? With the with this, but hold on. Let me get the wire. You take coated wire like this, Rob, right? And then that's what you insert instead of fluorocarbon, and you have a steel core. So you don't you. It's a hack. Um, I think a lot of people. But here's the disadvantage, Rob. Okay, the disadvantage is that it kinks, right? But if you can find, hold on, this one doesn't kink. Uh, Let me check to see. Uh, there it is. Let me share this. Uh, Rob, you see it? This one, actually, it doesn't kink, or it doesn't kink much. It does. It's still, wire is kinky. So, wire just kinks. But this one, you can actually form a knot, and it's pretty good. Now, obviously, you don't use the thick ones. You use the thin ones. The problem, seriously, is that um, they're not gonna come out super straight after one fish. So treat them as disposable assist hooks. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. Now there are uh, assist cords you can buy with steel cores. I think I have some here, if I'm not mistaken. But there again, tying them is like a bitch. That's A, and B. Uh, so here's one, right? It has metal in it, but it's more for like the smaller assist hooks, like for in Chico. Uh, I think I used it up. Yeah, I used it up. I think it's not here anymore. But uh, like I don't particularly like that. I'm having difficulty to open split rings for my micro jigs, 10 gram and less. All the pliers are owned, have rather standard jaw. Couldn't find pliers. Abdul, try this one right here. This is from Storm. It's still for sale, and as you can see, the this is actually for the Gomoku series. and they're cheap, man. You know. So this one has like a tiny one. Another one is that I use. Hold on, let me actually show. Uh, Dude, oh there, international. Okay. Uh, if I can find it, it's black. There it is. Okay. Uh, this one right here from TICT. So this one right here. This one's pretty good. Okay, and also very small. This is for edging. Okay. I'm gonna get a link. I'm gonna share it with you. Okay. So try that because that's really good. Also, I have the Daiwa. Okay, so this one right here, and these are like super tiny, dude. I mean, I use this for like micro stuff. I bought it because it was red. There's a black and a blue version, I believe. Okay, so this is okay. Let me search for this. It's called the Daiwa Field Flyer 2. Uh, Dude, really? It could be this. Yeah, yeah. This is the one. Yep, this is the one. Get the link. There we go. So Abdul, try those. But this one's super tiny, like super tiny. Right there, you can see it's so small. So for the smallest of split rings, this is what I use. TICT. That the first one that I showed. It's like the medium, and these ones are like all around. Um, but mostly I even use this for the big stuff, and totally fine. But this is for the micro stuff. I mean, look at the nib, the difference. I can't find my TICT right now. I'm pretty sure it's in one of the boxes, but yeah, it's that. Alrighty. So, any questions regarding the assist hooks we just tied? Yeah, Abdul, I understand. Years ago, we had that. I had the same problems. That's why, if I could help, if I could point you the right direction, I certainly do that because I understand the struggle. It's never easy when you're starting something and then you can't find the stuff that you need. It's a nightmare. And guess what? A lot of people might disagree, but for me, I honestly believe having the right gear helps you learn faster. You know, it just it just makes it easier because you're doing everything the right way. Tie some wire cores. Sure, man. Um, the hell? There we go. Shit, I'm ugly. Too bad you're fucking stuck with me, motherfuckers. Uh, Wire cores. I'll tell you what. I'll look to see if I have like better ones. Um, um, but what we could do? Yeah, Rob's laughing. Yeah, fuck you, man. You know, the truth hurts. The truth hurts. Okay. I'll tell you guys what. We'll do two things. Okay. Um, we'll do the wire core, and it's nice that you guys actually catch my humor, because sometimes it's kind of not. Uh, I'm not well understood. Put it that way. Okay. I'll tell you guys what. We'll do wire core, but I'll show you guys something better. Okay. The problem is, and we're not going to use the vice. Okay. The problem is, and for me, this is a way better method. Okay. The problem is, it's not easy. Okay. So I'm going to do that so you guys can see. And there's a few tools that you need. Okay. One of them is a vice grip. Okay. And then we'll do the wire core. You guys want to do that now? Yeah, it's actually fucking easy for me, but I guarantee you guys that you're gonna fucking hate it. Hold on. Okay, wire. There's wire there. Good. All right, let's take only the amount we're gonna use, and then we'll take the hooks we're gonna use. So I'm choosing hooks that's easy to find. Okay, so bear with me here. I'm also gonna choose like a bigger size so that you guys can see better. Right. Okay. Here we go. So these are 7269s from VMC. Okay. Single strand wire. How's your wire work, boys? All right. This will actually make like, oh my God. Hold on. The dog wants to go in. What do you want, boy? He just wants to hang out. He just wants to hang out. He knocks on the door, and then, it's like I swear, these guys own the house. We just live in it. Right? So you don't have to have these. Okay? You, you, you don't have to have these. It just makes the process easier. Okay? Um, definitely something you have to have. Okay? Definitely something you have to have. Things are fucking falling and shit. All right, now let me take this vise off because I need the space. Okay. Now, safety first, boys. Safety first. So, cool. All right. So, this is good. And a lot of people have been actually. I think a lot of people have requested this because the camera worked from before. Because it's very difficult to actually do like shit like this, and then have it in the camera. So I always got requests for this, so that's good that we're actually doing this. Okay, now the hardest part here is actually putting it on the what do you call this, the eye or solid ring. Okay, now if you have one of these, good. If not, get yourself a pair. Okay, this is 304. This is 304. And this is 1.4 or 1.6. You might be right there, Rob, but it's 304. Okay, so uh, first cut a longer length than what you need. Okay, and then what I do is I usually give myself like a long piece to work with. Okay, let me just tilt this there. Okay, glasses, they're very important for this shit. Okay, like this. All right. I do this for fast or slow jigs. So, right now, uh, make this is thicker than what you need, but it's easier for you guys to see. All right, there. Then insert. Okay. Now, what's important here is that you have to have at least two twists. Okay, and I use this to make it easier. Okay, and then two twists. Yeah, just two, and they have to be sort of tight, just like that. And then whoa, then bend them. That's it's harder than it should be because you know what? Let me get the right wire because it doesn't make sense because you might have an accident here. So these sort of wires, okay, these are you can't have them too thick as well, okay, because they become too visible. So I wanted to do this as an example. This is more for like making lures and stuff, but um, thinner wire is actually plenty strong, right? But it's harder for you guys to see. But let me get it because otherwise it's gonna be very dangerous. This is like 200-pound test, okay? So way stronger than what do you call this? But again, the problem with these things is that they never last. Okay, so all right, so ideally, there's a few different ways, but ideally, okay, for this you can actually twist it around the hook. That's one way. Okay, like this, cause when you go down here, you pull it. Actually, quite. I don't know if you guys can see here. Hold on. Get flat close here. Okay. The thicker wire will force you to actually do that one method, but for this one, you can actually have a better there. Okay. So what happens if you do this is that you actually literally have the direction of the hook kind of keeled. So you have your twist here and then barrel wrap. Okay, so see, it's kind of easier to make also, then adjust it, but that's pretty much it. Okay, see. All right, now you see it. Right now, you insert it here, put it in here, and then all you do is the issue I have with this is obviously it will kink, So standard for this would be uh, two twists and a roll. Okay, good for one or two fish, I would say, but I fucking hate it. That's why I kind of don't use it a lot. So two two twists. Ouch. And then wrap. What a shoddy job. But you get the idea. So basically, what happens if you do that, it's not gonna move, right? So I honestly really don't like this because you might catch one or two, but then, like realistically, one to tell you honestly, Rob, you know, then it kinks, right? So for wire core, the outside looks okay, but then it turns squiggly. So the the wire insert just keeps it from falling apart because of the teeth, but it it looks ugly after one, dude. So you have to change. Now, obviously, the alternative is going to be, you know, it sucks, right? Now, there's one thing, okay? If you want, this borders on the commercial fishing shit, all right? And if someone sees you doing this, that this fucking did come from me. Well, I'll show you a really hideous fucking trick that you can do. Okay, it's hideous, like seriously hideous. Like if you are if you are in true desperation for fish, okay, do this, right? Thick wire, okay. Brett, Rob, right? So this rig, okay, I've used this when I was like whenever I have like my commercial fishing days, you'll see me use this. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this one for you guys. Like, okay, so this has to be loose, right? That has to be loose, and those two hooks equal, same. Um, Man, I feel bad, but this is fun. This is fun. Okay, when you actually use this, and you know, you'll see. Just kind of give it a shot. Okay, hold on. So that's too small. So it needs to move, and there shouldn't be a chance for it to actually. Um, it shouldn't have a chance to bind. Okay. Righty. So it has to be the third one. Okay, there we go. No, crimping is not good, man. Not too strong. Oh, shit, I can't. Problem with diabetes, dude. Eyesight goes. Holy shit. Okay, so it has to be like super. But you try this out, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. This is for both fast jigs and slow jigs, yeah. And I've showed this to some people, and they're like, "Man, why? You know, like why? Don't." I was like, "No, man, try it out." But they're too professional to try shit like this, right? So, uh, or at least for them, that's their opinion, right? Have to be tight. So absolute. need when you're doing wire work, because it just makes it easier, because it's like you're holding it super tight, right? Now, there we go. And then, now a trick that I actually found is using like a spanner, right, to hold the wire. And what happens is that you can go up really close with like whoa, with like ample pressure, and it actually does a really good job. See, really good job of actually like turning it and putting like super nice pressure. Oh, see, actually helps a lot. I used to just use my fingers and stuff, but I can't get it super tight. But with this, I can. Oh God, I'm not even showing you guys. Sorry. Okay, there we go. See, it kind of like forms like a really long handle. Alrighty, so that. Sorry about that, boys. Okay, so break that off. You don't want to. What I do usually is have a crank handle done there. Okay, take this off. There's a lot of ways to do this, but having a crank handle there and then just breaking it off just makes it easier. Yeah. Oh shit. There we go. That way, because it's dangerous. This, like, those are not. Uh, okay. So crank handle that works if it's long. If it's not, scour it with this. Okay. So once you have a mark there, it actually surprisingly just breaks off easier. Okay. So that's like turn the Jesus Christ. Here. I'm telling you guys, this was a lot easier when I was younger. Okay. And then when it reaches the point, it just breaks on its own. So, you know, tricks and shit. All right. So from here, okay, you need to fix this a little bit so it hangs straight, right? So with that, just whoa. You want it to hang absolutely straight, guys. Okay. So um, make sure that you actually can maneuver it. So like these pliers would help, you know, like that. So you can see there, it's perfectly straight down. Because what you want is for this to be like super straight. You don't want it curving and stuff. Okay, see, and that's your assist hook. So basically, you make another, what do you call this, eye here, and that acts as your solid ring. Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna get a jig so you guys can see the after. But use these guys with there's like toothy critters. And I'm telling you, holy shit, this is like okay. We have a nature voice here. So measure the length of where you want it to sit. So right there, yeah, just like that. And then make another eye. Again, this sucks because what happens is that um, once it kinks, that's it. The good thing about this though is that since you're using something thicker, it's not gonna kink much. So put your solid ring in. Oh boy. You know if you have good wire if you're actually having a hard time. Okay, tilt that sideways a little bit. Put the solid ring on. The solid ring actually keeps it so that it doesn't tangle. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's same concept, you know. But I find that the this what it does is that you can actually do um, what do you call this? Thinner wire, thicker wire. It's what do you call this? It's a bit more variable. But yeah, that's actually when I was a kid, I had one of those. Kind of something I learned from Jim Rizzuto's book. Right now, we just actually there, and then I mean, normally I just use my hands, and it's actually normally really good. Okay, there. So here, this wire, seriously. Okay, here we go. This will do. Right here. This wire is not easy to work with, I swear. Okay. Okay. And since we have a longer thing here, you can just, break it off easy. Right? So you have this. I'm telling you guys, this is like, it's horrible. It's really fucking horrible. It's kind of too long for this. No, no, just right actually. But you try this, and if it doesn't get the fish hooked in the mouth, it actually hooks them outside, and it's really good for toothy critters. And I prefer this over steel cores because this particular one, right? Um, it doesn't kink as much because of the what do you call this? The thick wire. But if one hook actually goes in the outside, it's like that. You know, it's super super deadly. Yeah, and you you put the solid ring there, and it sits nicely. So that's one. That's something that you guys can do, right? Let's do the what do you call this? The core. It's still the same though. Looks the same. But this sort of thing, actually, I've in the early days, I've used these with great success on barracuda and mackerels, and they work well. Okay, so for steel cores, it's much better if you actually have. Uh, oh God, copper wire. No, not a good idea. Too soft. All right, let's do the steel core for you guys. Okay. The core I'm using, this is like 35 pound. Okay. I'm gonna get longer than what I need here. Okay. See? And then I'll divide it by two because we have two cord. Oh, well, I only have one here. All right. So it's fine. All right. So that long. It's mostly what you need. Just we're just doing an example, so that's fine. Um, I returned it. So you will need uh, what is this? 50. This is 60. All right. So I'm gonna use the Varivas SS just so it's more visible. Okay. This is hard to work with, boys, but I love it. Actually, let me get a 40. I think I have a 40. Haha, even better. I have a 30. All right, 30 is just good. This is wait, 40 should be good. There we go. I never run out of this. And hey Isaiah, and um, this sort of thing. They're not that expensive, but they're very difficult to work with, especially when you're splicing it. The splicing it takes like a really long time, and it sucks balls, man. All right, so we just need like a little bit of that. We take the core off as per usual, right? And then we install our wire. Another challenge with this is that the wire will actually snag. So you have to like keep on twisting. Okay. So you can see here it's stiffer, and then we have to check to see what's like. I think it's too short. Right, let me just now coated wire is cheap, but if you get like the surf log, it's actually better. One of my nemesis. I love them. I really love them. I even use this for like transition leaders. So there. Okay. There. Okay. So we have that. We'll cut this. And what I usually do with this is cut them so that they're really long. Okay. And then we tie the knot at the end. Wait. No, we won't because we're actually using what do you call this? We're actually using these hooks. All right. So let's start. So that's pretty much your prep, right? Okay. Variety. Um, there we go. Okay. Have this. And it's important to actually clamp it really well. This sucker is actually not the easiest to deal with. Okay, just excuse me for a moment here. Let me adjust. There. Just make sure that you guys see everything. All right. Now you have that. So it remember you have to have this thing stick out, and then also you have to really preen it like that. Um, you can use any cord. Okay, you can use any cord. I use a coated wire bent in half with a bead. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But man, it's still not easy. Okay, there, it's sticking out. Okay. So with this, just go in, right? And that square knot. Okay. Now the absolute critical thing here, okay, is when you tighten it, it's one and done. That's it. That is as good as it gets. Okay, that one right there. Okay. Now be very careful when you're holding the other end and pulling it because it will kink. Okay. So you have your flat nose pliers. Just grip the end. Okay, and then oopsie. This is why I said we have to secure it because with wire it tends to dance around. Okay. So have this, that, yeah, and then pull tight, and that's it. That is it right there. That won't move. Now, next thing is you have to pull this in and then cut. So you're actually having a shorter piece of the wire. It's not exposed, basically. Okay, there. And incidentally, that also forms your taper. Okay. So as you can see, it's actually pretty easy, straightforward, right? And then, very important that you actually do this super, super tight. Tighter than the body of the woman of your dreams. And she stays there in your dreams. There we go. Okay. And because of the wire, this has to be super, super, super. I mean, you don't really see it, but I am really pulling back on this sucker, man. Okay. This kind of stressful for me, actually. You know, you can get away with thicker braid for this because you want it to be super tight. And I'm torquing this thing like a mofo, man. Okay. So I have this on super tension. And then when I wrap, I actually stop the tension with my fingers. Okay. Oh, imagine that. It even exceeded the breaking strain because you need to be super tight with this. And that's fine. Even if it does that, you just have to wrap over like the last one. I normally use like really thicker braid for this because wire, when it fails, it fails. So you actually want to grip the wire as much as possible for this. You're stopping both the braid and the wire. You want it to be super tight. Okay, see, like nothing happened, dude. Do another pass. I usually do 2 to 3. Okay, bang, just like that. Mm. So, in the outside, you don't really see any difference when that's done. You know, another thing that you can't do is actually loop the loop that you're using here. It's gonna be kind of different, all right? Because you can't actually just loop it around like this. So there are minor differences. Like you guys are not commenting. It's like everything okay? Is it boring or what? Is it just the class is so what do you call this? So quiet. It's so unnatural, right? It's like you're a teacher. You're a teacher. You're in the class, and everybody's quiet. You go like, what the fuck? That's what is everyone asleep? All right. So here, right? Tighten. Get the other one. This. Okay. Pull, 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 pull. Tighten. Ooh. And then pull the other hook. Then it's set. And then pull down the sleeve. Cut the wire. There we go. And that's it. For this, because it has like an eye, you can actually kind of put it there for your safety. All right. Then I still tape the damn thing so it doesn't move because it will. Trust me. Okay, just right there. Yeah. See? Now it just kind of doesn't let it move. Righty. Then, yeah, it's like a lesson must be good. It's just that I was the noisy guy in college, and in high school. High school was pretty funny. I was like the um, the president of the class usually, right? And then I was the vice president of the student council for the whole school, and I chose to be vice president because for the classroom that was fine, but for the whole school, I was like, shit. If I was the president, that's gonna be too much work. So I was the vice president, and I was telling the president what to do. That was funny. Okay, right? Isaiah, off topic. On a previous video, we're giving praise on some older major craft rods that you still use. I forget which lineup, but I picked up a N1 three-piece travel rod. Yeah, N1s were actually pretty good at their time. Um, they were like Nano One, so they were the lineup Nano lineup of major craft. So those were pretty good. Then they were like at one point like top end rods, and then they kind of reabsorbed them, uh, and they're the 5G. How do they compare to the current models? Um, Older tech, but they're not bad. You know, they're not bad. Like still better than quite a lot of the rods that are out in the market, I would say. But they're older model rods. Doesn't mean to say that they're less relevant. There are just better models, but they're good rods. Okay. So again, I go back to what I said earlier. So usually when it comes to this, you have to really go uh, super tight. Okay, and take your time. And I'm putting so much tension in this, it's nuts. So I know how much tension breaks this thread. So I'm hovering just before that. Kind of experience from fly times. You know, it actually kind of trains you. Okay. Uh, there's wax in this thread, so I'm just cleaning up to see exactly if I missed anything. That should be fine. Okay. And then we will. I'm gonna show you uh, after this the other difference, right? Mhm. that should be fine. All right. Now, um, the difference with this is that you can't loop the wire. It's gonna ruin itself because of the kinks. Okay, so see, it's very stiff. Okay, I'm gonna have you guys there, and then take this. Okay, I'm gonna go this way. I don't want to have an accident and break the monitor because this is something that you're gonna have to deal with. Yeah. Off. Okay, I have to change my microscope. Okay. Have to find like a solid ring. All right, for this one, okay, um, either you make it into a fast jig or a or slow jig. Okay, so choose a an eye that can actually go through the what do you call this? The eye there. Or before you actually do this, all right, before you actually do this, what you do is put the solid ring on, which we did because I have this. And I was thinking that it might fit. Okay, let's see if it does. Oh God, it doesn't. Uh, so good for planning there, buddy. I wanted to actually use like a smaller one. But... All right, so we have a ring. Okay, so at this point, you can either do an offset or not. And remember, you can do this as a fast jig assist hook or a slow jig assist hook. So I'm gonna let you guys choose which one would it be, a fast jig or a slow jig. And we'll do offsets because having it with the same length, it's boring. So at this point, because of the type of hook that we're using, we could use this as a fast jigging assist hook or a slow jigging assist hook. And mind you, this has wire, so I would say that a fast jigging assist hook for what do you call this? Mackerel and all that. This would do well. Uh, Fast jig, offset. Okay. So let's do a fast jig. Fast jig will be pointing out. Slow jig will be pointing in. The difference is that normally you'll have a hook that's thick, right? But because this hook, this particular hook, and this is um, the 7269 from VMC, they're actually good enough to be used as fast, right? Good choice, boys. So point them out. Okay, we'll use this because this is really where it shines. Yeah. So have that point out, and then you do one hook. Okay, so like this, you have one hook pointing out, one hook, the other. Hold on, shit. Am I dyslexic? There. Okay, and then the other also pointing out, just like that. Okay, I want this to be longer than the other, so it has more coverage. What's up, Eric? There we go. Okay, just like that. And then one important thing here again is to actually pull it so that you get the true center. Okay. I'm just okay. There. So here's the gap. Okay. I'm gonna pull this, pull this tight, because what happens if you do that, it will like literally give you the center. Okay, like that. And then flyers that shit. Press. And guess what? That thing will set it. Yeah? You have that. Okay? And then, okay, this is where it gets kind of sketchy. So I wrap around my fingers like that. This needs to be a bit on the loose end. Still tight, but okay. And then I will wrap around like that. Okay? So that kind of starts it. And then just adjust this so it's tight. Make sure it's super tight. So that when you wrap it, okay, when you wrap it, it actually just kind of keeps things in place, right? And then there, okay, and then okay, that's enough. Now, ah, there, see that? There, cut the tag. There we go. Okay, now I do my half hitches or whip finish. Okay, I do two. Okay, that's tight. There we go. Alrighty, now let's see how she looks, boys. Right. Some people like to put like a separate solid ring for their fast jigs. I honestly believe that gives you a disadvantage. That's a handicap more than it is. For slow jigging, very different. What do you call this scenario? So, since this is a fast jig, I'm gonna take this thing off. And the ring is so freaking small. I have to use pliers. There, that's giving it a positive grip. And then there we go. All right, just take that off. Righty. Now, put this on. This assist hook pliers is too small, but there we go. There. So you have that sucker. Right? Twist this up so that it's in good position. Boom, just like that. I mean, you could adjust the length. You can make this longer, obviously, to cover it, but you know that's what it is. Assist hook pliers? There are no assist hook pliers, dude. Or you mean like what do you call this? Split ring pliers. I think a really good value for the money. Yeah, a really good value for money is the Shimano one. You know, that's but it damages the, if you don't know how to use it, it damages the what do you call this? It damages the split ring. Brutus, I don't even know the brand, man. Stick with the major brands. You know, Mustad. Uh, you know, Rob, you could do this in your sleep, dude. Shimano Brutus? No, 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 no. Hold on. Let me show you. Yeah, it's a nice pair, and you know, I mean, for when I go GT fishing, that's literally what I use. Um, but not probably not something I would recommend for what do you call this? But value for money, yeah. Hold on. Let me show you. Uh, Amazon Japan. Yeah, here he is. And there's several sizes too, so you can choose. So let me get the link for you. It's like, how much is it? It's not that expensive, you know. Like 3,642. That's $32 or something like that. But man, you know, it's like super good. Um, I'm not gonna recommend the Studio Ocean Mark because that's too much. But it's super super good. Um, these guys right here, they're good for the smaller stuff. There's the Berkeley ones that I've had for years. They're also pretty good, but it's big. You know, you can't use it for the smaller stuff. Um, the one that I've been using a lot of, surprisingly, Owner. Yes, there's one from Owner that I use. Okay, let me show you. Uh, but it's not what you expect. It's not like a traditional split ring pliers. They don't break. They don't break the split ring, these. And when I saw it, I actually saw it in global meeting in Osaka before they released it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I stole one. Actually, I asked the owner, you know, I told him, like, listen, if I am walking out of here today and I want something from what you've shown us, I want one of those. So you know, he was like, okay, okay, you can have Kitsan. His name is Shige. Yeah, he's a cool guy. And surprisingly, this guy was keeping quiet the whole time, and we didn't know that he could speak English. So the owner of Owner, you know, actually a pretty cool guy, and he speaks English. So look at that, boys. Um, I would have probably adjusted this lower hook here to be a bit lower, a tad lower. You know, that's an oversight on my part. But with this kind of configuration, when this one gets hit, um, two hooks are going to dig in. It's just that you will miss fish if they're actually hitting here. And the object of offsets is actually to cover as much as of the jig as possible. So you know um, that's all I'm good. But look at that. Yes, it's a Nature Voice one. I forget which model, but it was on sale, so I grabbed it, and I like the color. Sure as hell better than green. So all right, Rob, does that what do you call this? Wiggle rider or spin rider or something like that, or current, yeah, yeah, something like that. All right, so Rob, what you think? You were the one who requested that. Doable, right? Doable. I mean, very easy, man. I mean, honestly, like all the things I showed, okay, the one that I showed with the thick solid ring, that was money. That was it. I mean, for me, that's what I would be using for like toothy stuff, because more than more than uh more than more than what you see, those or that configuration like hurts them. You know what I mean? It's like you use that, you put a dent in the population. And that's something that well, I used to do with barracuda. I just don't like them, you know. Yeah, that slaying is like, oh dude, that's like killing them, you know. It's almost it's almost sad, but I just fucking hate barracuda. Like my other email address in Google is like barracuda killer, because like I really hate them. I really don't like them, man. Barracuda. Oddly enough, my friend Abbas, who owns the Barracuda tackle shop, right? Um, he has a funny story. So I was like, okay, of all the names to name your shop, why did you name it Barracuda? And then he goes, Habibi, that's how we earn money. Habibi, that's how we earn money. Holy shit. So the Barracuda is literally his favorite fish because it's what earns the shop money. Oh, God. Later on, what it is, it's part of tuition. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's tuition. But guys, I'm gonna tell you guys something very far-fetched, okay? And it's really up to you guys if you wanna believe it or not. Okay? It has been years since I got bitten off by barracuda. Because, believe it or not, you can selectively uh, eliminate them from biting your lures. Okay, so yeah, and like especially on the boat, um, when we encounter them, I think that one of the first times was with Wael. Okay, so we were fishing, and he was getting cut off a lot, and then he looked at me and said like, "How many jigs have you lost?" And then I looked at him and said like, "None so far." And then towards the middle of the trip, he's lost probably five, and I still haven't um, lost any. And he was like, "How the hell do you do it?" So um, over the years, I discovered that barracuda, any fish, okay, and this is something that you guys should actually kind of work around. Not even breadth, it's speed. Okay, the barracuda responds to a certain speed range, and it doesn't matter what you have on there. And again, this is something that you guys have to work towards. This is something that you guys have to like literally figure out. Okay, because most of the time, if they ask me like how fast is it, My answer is the speed range is a little bit slower than what would make kingfish respond, like mackerel, not Australian or New Zealand kingfish, okay, not yellowtail kingfish, um, Florida kingfish. It's like a mackerel. So a barracuda would actually respond to speed that's a bit, just a tiny bit slower than a mackerel, mackerel's ideal speed. Okay, and again, it's up to you guys to actually like kind of figure this out, and some people might have doubts, about this, but any lure, jigs, spoons, plugs, and all that, um, just experiment. Okay, different speeds will actually give you different strikes from different fish. Okay, and what I've found is that for barracuda, there's literally a segment of speed. And if you find that out, and once you know that there's barracuda, like my cousin Dan, okay, he's filmed for this channel like a few times, and then sometimes you actually see him also in the videos and stuff. But my cousin Dan, he was literally beside me, and we were fishing dokan snapper balls, and he was telling me like, "Why aren't you getting cut?" You know, and I was like, "Speed, dude, speed." Now, having said that, okay, it's also it's only when you have the control. When you're dropping down, and then they intercept the lure, there's very little you can do. But once you're retrieving, then kind of a different story. So if you're casting, the moment the lure lands on the water, that's the critical part for them to actually strike, not when it's moving. So majority of the time, I would only get cut if I'm casting and then it lands on the water and then the fish takes it and they miss the lure, then bang, that's it. Longer lures will actually catch more barracuda, and you'll end up not losing them because barracuda would always hit or t-bone the lure. And if your lure is too short, that's a problem. Now, what do you call this? Rob, you're one of the very lucky few. The barracudas are like, I don't know, man. They're okay. Like, let me put this in perspective so you guys understand why I don't like this fish. Okay. In the Philippines, in the 90s, I'm in high school. Okay. My allowance is, let me compute that so it's accurate. Okay. There. Sorry, the audio cut. Yeah, I touched the mic. So, I only had 2.7 Australian dollars a day. Okay, and geez, that's very little, right? I only had that much per week, and to save for lures, it takes me months. Now imagine having your lure, right? A brand new lure, which was literally also about 500 pesos or about 1350, that you saved for like several months, only to be taken by a motherfucking barracuda because you actually missed or you casted its its way. Like, holy shit, man. Once you lose that lure, what are you gonna do? And most of the time, what we do is when we lose a lure, we just stand there, and we'll wait, because sometimes the lure just floats up. So that's also how we learned how to accurately cast, because we would tie on a spoon or something heavy, and it's out in the middle of the sea, like well, not in the middle of the sea, but like, so around that area, and then we would cast for it until we would snag the hooks, and then we'd retrieve it. So I would say like half of the time that happens, but half the time we lose it, and that's something that you saved up for a few months, dude. That and remember, like, when it comes to this, I don't have support from my dad, because even if he fishes, he always told me, like, kid, like, think about this logically, son. It's like, just think about this. My dad's an architect, or was an architect. He's passed away, but um and guys, my dad, he wasn't like an ordinary architect. He was like an architect for the elites. So he was well respected. He knew what he was doing. A very astute and smart fella. All right. So arguing with him was actually kind of impossible. So he was like, son, kid, think about this logically. Okay. I am soaking live shrimp and I haven't had a touch. You want to fish with plastic and wood. Where's the sense in that? And like, shit, how are you supposed to argue? But this is what I'm seeing in magazines. This is what I'm seeing in, like, on TV when I was watching Flip, right? So, or the Japs, whenever we saw like NHK stuff, we're like, how the hell are you supposed to argue with him? So he doesn't. He tells me that if you want shit like that, then you have to save for it, buy it on your own. Like, dude, what am I supposed to do? Fucking cry, right? That's also how I learned to make lures, because earlier on I realized that those would be like the biggest expense, right? So I learned how to make lures, and then every time you lost one, it doesn't hurt much, because guess what? At the end of the day, since you like making lures, what happens is that you kind of like look forward to lose it so that you can make another one. And we had like a furniture factory, so that's how I learned how to use tools, all that. That's basically how it started for me, so I mean, geez, man, that sucks, right? Barracuda, but that's it. Now, having said that, okay, um, deep water barracuda sucks balls, but them on shallow water, very different story, because that is like exciting fishing. Okay, so barracuda in shallow water, if you didn't know, they're the spookiest motherfuckers. Okay, they might be bullies in the flats, mean predators. But because of the shallow water, and I'm talking about like waist deep water, okay, dude, they're so difficult to catch, and you would think that they would eat anything, but their senses, it just turns them into a different animal when they don't have the safety of the depth, and no matter how big the barracuda is, if you cast the wrong way, they will bolt. So, and also in shallow water, this is when the barracuda would actually turn into um, like uh, like jumping fish. Yeah, they're not that dumb. They're not that dumb. There are smarter fish, but they're not that dumb, especially in like shallower water. So in shallower water, fishing for them with a fly rod, light tackle, and all that, that's cool. And that's the time that I would only like literally look for them. You know, um, so yeah, but they're not my most favorite fish, to tell you honestly. I don't like fish with teeth, and that includes mackerel. I just don't like them. The trauma, I guess, when I was a kid. I mean, imagine like one of the best lures or two of the best lures that I've ever used in my entire life. And you know what? I don't care what anyone says, right? Um, some people hate them, some people love them, but there is a lure from Yuzuri called Crystal Minnow. And the crystal minnow is probably one of those lures that I've caught so much fish on. It's insane. Okay. So crystal minnow and the other one, which is my more favorite of mine, kind of like my signature lure before. It was the Yozuri Tobi Maru. And I don't know if the Tobi is still around, but geez, the Tobi, I still have some from back in the day. But the Tobi Maru is like literally one of my favorites, man. Hold on, let me show you guys. Yozuri Tobimaru. Um, there it is. Hello. And if you guys want a an all around lure that would catch anything in shallow or in the deep, this is the one right here. That is the Yozuri Tobimaru. Only comes in one size. That's the 130. It's floating. Oh, is it one size only? No, they have three sizes now. Before it used to be just this middle one. So they have like a smaller one and then like a big one. But it used to be only one size. But this guy, okay, is something that I fished a lot of and I've caught so much fish on this. And the other one is the Yozuri. So imagine this, in the 90s I was already fishing JDM. Uh Tobimaru and then Crystal Minnow. There's also the pins minnow, which is actually pretty good. But these are I don't like these because they're like the new stuff. The older stuff usually it was more like this here. That's the old colorway right here, not the ones with the, you know, but it had like a laser strip. So that's why it was called crystal minnow. So that's it right here. That's like the original. Also, this is plastic now. Before it was hard foam. So the this one, see. So this particular one, it's plastic now, but before it was actually like the same foam that you find being used on boats. But this one's pretty good. Holy shit! Yeah, crystal minnow, one of my favorites. And then there's also the pins minnow, which is like the ultralight stuff, right? So there we go. That's the pins minnow, right there. And and mind you, these were like when they were introduced, in the 90s. So we used to catch a lot. This is like one of the original colors of the pins right here. So used to use this, and imagine I think my what do you call this? Back then I had that worked in the States, and he'd take a lot of lures back home. Uh, oh, dude, thank you so much, Rob. Holy shit, man. Brett, you know what? Wahoo, yes. I agree. The Spanish mackerel is like Barracuda plus one run. Black screen. Holy shit. I wonder what happens. It's so. Okay, there we go. So just tell me if you actually see it. All right, then I can go back to what I was talking about. Okay, let's wait a while because it says that it's sharing. Okay, there we go. So uh, that technique, Isaiah, that's called live lining. And yeah, man, that works a lot, like, or fly lining actually. There. What about now? Yeah. Do you see the lures now, Rob? I'll go back, I'll show you the three. Okay. So this is the pins minnow, and this is like for ultralight fishing. This is hard to beat. Now, should show you. See, there's the 2 inch, 2 and 3/4, 3.5. So before it was only the 2 inch, and then these two big ones, they're actually size extensions. But in the 90s, the pins minnow 2 inch. Okay, that's really good. They're still for sale now. And then the other two lures, there. This is the crystal minnow. So the old school color is actually these right here, not these ones with the glittery, ugly ass thing. So it had like a laser strip like this, and there were like smaller ones, but then they introduced like the bigger stuff. But normally they were like 2.5, 3 inches, right? Um, they introduced a deep diving version, but these guys right here, these originals, the original ones were actually made with foam, like hard foam. Also, the angle of the lip is kind of different. Before, it was actually a bit more, because what it was the buoyancy. So once they changed the material, the material has a different buoyancy and density, obviously. So the lips changed, but yeah, the shape remains the same. So that's the crystal minnow, right? Um, Isaiah, what were you using to cast out the pins minnow? If you were wondering if I had to recommend it. Yeah, man, we were using light gear. So at that time we were using mono, but 6 pound test, 4 pound test on ultralight rods and really tiny reels, like a 2000 size 2500 reels. You know, and this was the time when I was like actively fishing barracuda in shallow water, and I had like wire. Okay, so but my absolute favorite is the Toby Maru. Okay, and that was the first one that I actually showed you guys. This one right here. That's the Toby. Okay, and before it was only one size, which is this middle one right here, and then they had like a size extension. So they had like a bigger one, and then a smaller one. But essentially, it was only one size before. It was the middle one, which is about the same size as a smaller than a CD14. So 140 around there, I guess. 105 it says here. Anyway, so that was about the size. 110 actually. If I remember correctly, it would be like 110 mm. But I've caught like shallow water barracuda on them. This was the time when I was already putting wire on and like targeting them because I found them really fun in shallow water, but fucking hate them. But that's also the time when I discovered the speed range because we're using all sorts of retrieves and stuff like that, and then I found that there's like a certain speed that they really respond to, and that was that. Yeah, I mean the double clutch is new. These guys have been around since the 90s. So these are like institution lures. No rattle at that point. Daiwa double clutch didn't exist. I think Yozuri was actually one of the very first exports out of Japan as a brand. They were literally in competition with Rapala. Okay, and one of the lures that they were selling to counter Rapala, it was called an L Jack. There we go. That's a Yuzuri L Jack. So this is Japan's answer to Rapala. This one right here, L Jack. They're pretty cool, actually. The L Jacks, you know. I'm not too sure if they're still being. I'm pretty sure they're not anymore. So there's like the floating, and then there's the, what do you call this? The sinking, right? But the L jacks were pretty cool, man. You know. Um. So there, look at that. Look at that. That's like old. That's hella old, man. Compared to like and they were plastic instead of actually wood. They were they were plastic. Also, they were the first ones to actually use this double hooks. You know, look at that L jacks. Holy crap, man! I haven't seen one of these for a really long time. And then they were the first ones to introduce like the poppers for GT. So you have the pencil popper, which is the surface cruiser, right? So you have these. I think I showed you guys one, that the old school ones. These are new, but that's the old school one right there, surface cruiser. And they have like the new one, the surface cruiser, which is like now plastic. Before they were wood. Really good. You know, like these ones right here. You see this? That's like the classic, man. This is like a classic Yozuri surface cruiser. And then they have the surface bull, which was the very first popular GT popper. And I think you guys can see the shape. It's kind of like the norm these days. Yeah, I mean double clutch looks like them because all it is that they copied stuff, you know. But these are one of the very first GT poppers, you know. So Yuzuri, man, oddly enough, you know what's funny? They're not too well liked in Japan. Um, the owner of the company, or the guy who's running it, isn't even related to the founder. He's like an in-law, you know, the son-in-law, and he's the one in control now. And I don't know, a lot of it's politics, I guess, but yeah, kind of they don't like him, which is weird, right? It's supposed to be a pillar of industry, and majority of Yozuri is actually owned by the bank, apparently. You know, again, something they just said. So for a long time I haven't been keeping up with what Yuzuri has been doing, but what a lot of people don't know is that Yuzuri is actually the cheaper of the two, and it's the export version in Japan, much like what is Maria and Yamashita. You know, so Yamashita is like the export version, um, or what's exported a lot of. So okay, so in Japan, the top end for what do you call this? Top end version of Yuzuri is actually dual. So I don't know if you guys know that, right? So you'll find that hardcore is kind of like their. If you look, you'll find that they have like the more expensive versions, like the Isle Magnet series, which is like technologically more advanced. You know, they'll have versions of, say, something like the Crystal Minnow. And this is literally like the JDM stuff you'll probably find in Japan more than you would find Yozuri, because Yozuri is actually kind of like the cheap stuff, you know. So a lot of the exported stuff you find in America, Yozuri. They don't have dual stuff. So sad to say, you know, like the Americans are actually getting the cheaper version. Um, I think one of the good things before, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this. Look at this. This is like a big pins minnow, right? The Sonic Boom stick bait. One of the lures that I mentioned before that I really love. Okay, it's the uh, dual aisle metal curve slider, or Yuzuri maybe, you know. But Um, these jigs, there we go. These jigs are like some of my favorites, and holy shit, man, they're so good. They're so good. I have a picture that was taken just when I arrived here, and I was holding uh, a fish we call sherry, spangled emperor, and you'll see that it's like a jig, and there's literally no older picture of a jig caught fish here in the UAE than that picture. Um, and yeah, it's with this jig. Hold on. Like literally a favorite of mine, even until this day. Look at that. And I have heavier versions of this back home in the Philippines. I don't know where they are exactly, but I know that I have them there. So these are actually like super freaking good, man. You know, you can still get them on eBay. I have this one right here in this particular color, like back home. You know, and they weren't cheap when I bought them. But these guys, for some weird reason, there was like a shitload of these, and they were so cheap. I was the only one buying, you know, and they were available in like a gas station tackle shop, and I snapped up a lot, and for some weird reason, when I went back, someone else was buying them, and they didn't know what to do with them, you know. But yeah, took one of my uh, like really good ones, and they were branded dual, um, and they were expensive, right? But if if you can find them branded as Yozuri, they were actually really cheap. So that's how I actually got a few of these. You know, they were branded Yozuri, and they were a lot cheaper in this gas station. There was another shop that was selling them for like 50 dirhams. I was like, what the hell, man? It's too expensive, you know. But yeah, so if you guys happen to find like old stock for this, holy shit, man, buy them. Fast jigs, okay. They're sliders. The very first slider that I've actually got my hands on, and wow, they're so good. I mean, I love them. I think this is like the easiest slider to use because all you do is just pump, and then you'll see it, you know, ah, and I've caught so much fish on them. It's crazy. Like even in shallow water. I mean, imagine like 27 meters. I'm using like at that time, and this is like what 110 or 100 grams, and it was still catching. So it was that good. Alrighty. Anyway, so any more questions? Because we've been on for like almost 3 hours, guys. So what do you call this? If you guys have still have questions, I'm probably going back here later and doing another stream, probably like what after lunch or something, you know. Uh, but for this video, I've showed you like how to make the slow jigging assist hooks, and then we did some wire stuff, and then we had these wired core fast jigging hooks. I think that's the meat and potatoes of this stream. Alrighty, so that's it, guys. I'm gonna have some lunch, and then after that, I'm gonna go back here. And by the way, do you like the what do you call this? Did you guys like the format of the fishing video? Because you know, there's no narration or anything. I'm just literally the problem now is like I cannot um what do you call this, I cannot edit videos. So my cousin's coming here on Friday. He's actually going to look at the whole system and see exactly why I can't why it crashes basically. Are you able to do a recommend products page on Amazon with your affiliate link? Hmm. If you guys want to do, if you guys want to what do you call this, me to do that. If it's worth your, what do you call this, I can. I mean, sure. Most of it's going to be in Amazon Japan, because a lot of the JDM stuff doesn't really, kind of reach the US. But a lot of these places actually, sure, all right, sure. I mean, with Amazon, you know, um, it's I'd actually rather you guys have the discount. All right, cool. I'll put together, what do you call it? I think what would be good if I did that would be the fact that you guys could actually find the products that I would recommend more. You know, um, I have this thing about, like, earning money from people. I don't know, man. It's just not me. So I'm so new to this whole thing, and it kind of, like, I don't know, freaks me out a little. you know. But for guys to actually find, let's say, alternatives of, uh, rods and reels, lures that, that I would say are okay. That makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's just easier, right? You go to the page, let's say, and then you'll have, like, all the jigging stuff, all the casting stuff, light tackle stuff, lines, and all this. So it'd be easier rather than always posting stuff, right? Yeah. I mean, the commissions, they you know what the commissions do? Because they're not much, right? But what they do is, like, if I want to test something out, then I'll have credit. You know what I mean? So that's cool. Like, take for example, I have, like, I don't know, 2,000 yen, right? And then I wanna test out this new line or whatever, then bang. So there's a discount. So yeah, that's cool. Because you don't earn much from Amazon, really. But what I'm doing is just, it's like, for your convenience, really, you know. And what I do also is that, instead of, most of the time, I actually post what, like, instead of specific products, what I do is actually post a search link so that you guys can see the alternatives, instead of actually having, like, being locked into one product. You know what I mean? So, and guys, you know what's cool? The person who actually does the links in the channel is actually my daughter. So, I that's kind of like her job, her or her part-time job. So every, like, 2 days or something like that, she comes in here, she uses the Mac, and then she puts on, and then I'm here, and then she's on the other side, and then she'd ask me, like, Dad, what's your recommendation on this? What's an alternative and all that? And then I'd be instructing her. So that's pretty cool that we're spending time that way. You know. Anyway, cool, guys. I am going to. My wife needs me, so I'm gonna go offline for now. I'm gonna go back later. Alrighty, and then, we'll see what we can talk about. But that's it for now. Alrighty. Thanks so much, guys. I shall see you later. Class dismissed.